saying that there are, I know that you write about, and we are aware of how people, students, alumni gathered at the Harvard University campus to protest against the CAA. Well, the same thing happened. The same thing happened outside the Bodleian and the Sheldonian in Oxford as well. But what difference does it make? Let them protest. Let them read out sections of the Indian Constitution, pretend to teach us. My question is, Mr. Malhotra, and I'm provoking you on this, what are the far-reaching consequences of such acts?
Yes, sir, I'm provoked.
You're provoked. Okay.
Yes, I'm prepared to answer because we've discussed this at great length. So India started Ashoka University where the elite go. They pay 10, 15 lakhs a year, and these are the kids of the elite that get important jobs throughout the industry and throughout government and so on, and other similar universities. Now, they claim to be the Harvard of India, so they mirrored everything from Harvard. If you look at what they teach, who the professors are, where they come from, who inspires them, it is Harvard's footprint in India. So it is important. If you look at Niti Aayog, who are some of the consultants, these are all American companies, people like Deloitte and Ernst & Young and PricewaterhouseCoopers and McKinsey and so on, and they're all trained in wokeism, in very liberal leftist ideas of social thought, social structure, bias, prejudice, oppression. You see, this whole international revolution going on is a very serious thing you have to look at, and you cannot say India is not a victim of it, because if India were not a victim of it, Jaishankar would not be going around with a fire extinguisher putting out fires. Why does the US State Department come up with all these things about India lacks in religious freedom, India doesn't have enough social justice? Who is he to talk about it? Well, he gets it from certain places. He gets it from certain think tanks in the United States. Jaishankar is putting out these fires almost one every week, but he has not figured out where is it coming from, which is what we are telling him. There are certain think tanks and certain people who create this kind of narrative, and it spreads in media, it spreads in policy making, it spreads in the attitude towards India. So if India were to be immune from all this, then you would not have Washington Post placing ads when there is a demonstration or riot in India going on, but they are. And so nowadays, because we live in a global era, the Kurukshetra is global. You cannot say we're isolated and something happening 1,000 miles away, 10,000 miles away won't affect us. Distance is absolutely irrelevant. Now, let me ask you this. What happens if Microsoft and others like them enact a corporate policy in their HR department to have caste quotas and have a census on caste the way they have for blacks and whites in the United States, and they say that caste is equivalent to blacks and white issues in the United States? And what happens when they enforce it to their subsidiaries in India and the people who
it won't apply.
From? All of this,
it won't apply.
I'm telling you,
my answer to you that would be they won't apply, because in India they would be subject to Indian laws. And I know what you're talking about. You're talking about all these Western media houses who pick up these things saying caste arrives in Silicon Valley, how big tech is importing caste legacy to Silicon Valley. But the fact of the matter is the American economy will shrink, the Chinese economy will shrink, we are growing, and we have a lever on them which we maybe did not have 10 years back, which is our growth. Our prospective growth over the next 10 years makes us imperative to any business plan of any big tech company. I am in the world of media, Rajiv Malhotra, and I can tell you this. You can check out all the streaming services in the United States. I'm sure you live in the US, cable is dying. People said streaming services are growing. You ask people today, streaming services, even Netflix is losing subscribers in America and hoping to gain subscribers in India. So if streaming services, big tech companies, the future is entirely in India. So we should tell them that, look here, don't impose your views on us. You're talking about the Americanization of caste. And I agree with you, Rajiv Malhotra. Of late, there is an overwhelming amount of Western propaganda on caste. But we are India. We have levers on them. We can tell them, can't we tell them where to draw the line?
We can, but we haven't. So let me give you a counter argument. The term ESG, environment, social justice, governance, is very big in Mumbai in industry. There are ESG consultants. every single major multinational in India, Indian multinational, is getting into ESG, and that's an American concept out of the Harvard Kennedy School on how you govern a company with social justice. And the concept of social justice is not from the Vedic ideas, it's not from Dharma Shastras or Earth Shastras. This particular social justice is from critical race theory and the wokeism. That kind of a social justice is in vogue in India. You have to look at how many ESG consultants and conferences and seminars are going on, and there is lots of them. So Indians have, for whatever reason, not followed the ideas that you would like or I would like. They have in fact embraced Harvard ideas already, and these are being exported into the government, into the private sector, into all sorts of places. So, you know, we can wishfully think that this were not the case. There were a Chinese wall or an Indian wall or iron wall between us and the rest of the world. But unfortunately, that's not the case. India has imported these things large scale. It's very fashionable for the young people in the humanities and social sciences to mimic American social thought and bring it into India. That's the reality.